than practical. Here comes the girl. Way more than merely factual. If you wanna know the secrets of a life, it's free. Listen to girls behaving metaphysically. Listen to girls behaving metaphysically.
Welcome to Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Your hosts are two girls who believe that life is awesome, that laughter heals, and that it's possible to find deep spiritual insights in everyday experience. Join Robin Rice and Sumaya Wood for this week's adventure.
Happy Friday. I'm Sumaya Wood.
Cheers.
Cheers. Who are you?
I'm Robin Rice, and this is
Girls Behaving Metaphysically. Way to mess up our intro, huh?
I didn't hear you say who you were.
I did. I said, hi, I'm Sumaya Wood.
It's a good thing you know.
It is. I'm so excited today. I don't think I've been this excited for a show. I'm just gonna say it. I think it's good because I love our movie. You know how much I love our movie shows, and this is like a super special movie show. And I just want to say hello to Keith, who's already kind of checked in the comments. Hello, Keith. I'm so glad you found us. And for anybody else who is joining us live, just say hello in the chat and let us know where you are joining us from. If you are catching this on the replay, please also say hello and just type in #replay in the comments and let us know that you've caught this episode. So we are mixing things up today, aren't we, Robin?
We are. We're doing our movie show early because we have a special guest, and we're very excited. So let's get to it, right?
Let's do it. Should we bring Mr. Paul Raci on?
Yes, bring Mr. Paul Raci on. I'm going to give him
yay, Paul Raci!
So for those of you who don't know, Paul is an actor who is now best known for his role as Joe in The Sound of Metal. He has been seen in many TV shows. He's was born and raised in Chicago. He's done a lot of theater. He was raised by deaf parents and is fluent in ASL sign language, as anyone who's seen the film will know. While in Chicago, he did a lot of theater, as well as founding the Immediate Theater Company, where he was nominated for a Jefferson Award for their production of Children of a Lesser God. And in LA, he's performed in many theater pieces at Deaf West Theater, including Of Mice and Men, Medea, and recently the acclaimed award-winning production of David Mamet's American Buffalo, which was also done in ASL. Paul is also a musician and a singer, and he has a band called The Hands of Doom, which is an ASL rock band, a Black Sabbath tribute band, where Paul dazzles his audience. And I've seen him, so I can testify to this. Dazzles his audience with outstanding raw vocals and all kinds of stuff. So he's an amazing man. I know him, and he hails from a creative family with a wife who has the persona of an agent, but she's one of the most creative people I know. She's also a singer and just an amazing woman, and a beautiful daughter that I babysat. It's so hard to believe that she's as old as I am now. And she is also a musician and a singer and has a band called It's Butter. And I got to tell you, Paul, I so thought that Britta would be the first one that I would be interviewing. Way to beat her to the punch.
She's really talented, though. Her band is really good. So it's been hard, this pandemic, for all musicians. It doesn't matter how old you are. You know, all the guys that I know are old. It's been a hell of a year, you know.
Yeah. It's been crazy. So it's great to have you here. It's great to have you. And just full disclosure, Paul and I know each other from our spiritual journey. So I'm sure this will come up in the conversation.
Metaphysically, somehow it will. I have a feeling.
So I just want to, we have lots of people jumping in the chat. Hello, Savannah. Hi, Lava. Hey, Bonnie. Good to have you here in the States. Lava, hello. Roxy, hello. Hello, Gil William. Rodney from Agape Bay Area. And I think that's everyone. Keith says, yes, the whole family is amazing. And Bonnie is happy that you answered. That was her question about how you learn sign language. So she's glad that we tackled that from the get-go. You were a tough love kind of guy in the movie, she says.
Yeah. Well, everybody makes a comment. Not everybody, but a lot of people have said to me, boy, everybody needs a Joe in their life. You know, a guy that'll.
God, ain't that the truth?
Yeah, somebody that'll tell you the truth, tell you, hey, you're messing up or whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, tough love, I guess you could call it that. Yeah, it was. There was a lot of that in the movie.
So I want to start from the beginning. So what was like your first audition or your first going to learn about the movie? Like, how did that come about?
Well, it's kind of complicated, but when the breakdown first came out, it was stated in the breakdown that they only wanted deaf actors. And so I didn't even know about it at that point. And Liz, who represents deaf actors, knew about it. She submitted 2 of her top deaf actors for this role. However, in the script, it was very clear. You see, that Joe speaks. He's what we call a late deafened individual. So within the deaf community, there are people like my father who never heard, doesn't even remember music, or never learned how to speak. It's totally deaf. We call them culturally deaf with a capital D. And then there was my mother who lost her hearing at the age of 5. So she still remembered music. She acquired language. And so she could speak, although with a deaf accent, as they say. She was a very good lip reader. So as I always say, the deaf community is not a monolith. There's so many different degrees and levels of deafness. But within that community, there are people like Joe. As a matter of fact, all the guys that I served on the ship that I was in Vietnam, the USS Coral Sea, it was an aircraft carrier. And I was a hospital corpsman on that ship. All the mechanics that worked on the jet planes on that ship today are, if they're alive, are as old as I am, and I just turned 73. They're all deaf. They're deaf because of the tinnitus that they've had in their ears all these years. Like I still have tinnitus from the ship. And also I play in a rock band, many rock bands, and stupidly have not protected my ears. Well, there was no protection for ears before 1980 anyway. So there are these guys like Joe and the guys that I served with on that ship that are hearing. They can't learn sign language and dive into the deaf community because they don't know deaf culture. They don't know sign language. So they're still deaf, but they're hearing people. So when my wife submitted her deaf actors for the script, they came back and said, we need somebody that speaks. We need a latent deaf guy. So that eliminated a lot of deaf actors that don't have the speaking ability. So, but they cast the rest of the ensemble with totally deaf actors. But my role and the role of Ruben, because they have 2 parallel journeys, latent deaf guys, they wanted it to be, I ended up getting the role, and so did Riz Ahmed, who plays Ruben, the drummer. That's a long-winded answer, but does that make sense to you what I'm saying? Because I'm trying, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's a really cool background. Yeah. So how did your audition process go?
Well, I read the script, realized that there were a lot of parallels, which is, Robin, the thing is, there were a lot of parallels. It was an Iraq War veteran. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I had addiction problems. I still have addiction problems. I'm addicted to everything, but I had some serious addiction problems coming back to from Vietnam. And so I had to work through those as an addict. Then I started working as a sign language interpreter for deaf addicts that were in hearing programs. In other words, you're court ordered from a judge to go through this addiction program with a bunch of hearing guys. So here I am shadowing this guy through his whole experience, his commitments, his meetings, his this and that. And then eventually move out to California. I run into Robin at the Agape Spiritual Center, became a practitioner there. And this guy, Reverend Michael Beckwith, roped me into being the leader of a deaf ministry, damn it, and an addiction ministry, damn it. But that was all part of my journey. And so so anyway, what I was saying to Robin, I'm reading the script, and you know the part where Joe tells Reuben about the kingdom of God, where it resides right here. I grew up a Roman Catholic in Chicago. I was an altar boy. I did the mass in Latin. That'll tell you that's how old I am. Did it all in Latin. Didn't know what the hell I was talking about, but a Deum qui laetificat juventutem meam. Sounds kind of dirty in a way, but that was my. So I read that line, and I've gone from being a Roman Catholic, praying to a God out there, up in the clouds somewhere, or he's going to bring something down to earth, manifest it. And my thing shifted, especially studying with all these wonderful people I met at Agape. I shifted in this Buddhism type thing where the kingdom of God is, guess where? Right in here. Everything is one. It's all a oneness. And if everything is one, then God can't be out up there separate from me. It's one with me. When I read that line, I thought, oh my God, now that's where Joe and I really connect.
Right.
That seemed to be the main line that showed me where Joe was at, because that's where I've come to after all these years, So reading that, and then the process turns in, okay, now you have to put it on tape and send it in. So you get a scene partner, which I have. We put it on tape, felt pretty good about it, had a really good scene, sent it in. And then what I usually do is I forget about it. I just, because that's how it's been for 40 years for me. Audition, bye.
Yeah.
The line has been, we're going to go with a name, because Paul Raci, you're not a name. Okay. We're going to go with the other way, this way, not this way, or not this way, certainly. So my wife, Liz, who is my agent, she decides to give him a call there at the casting agency and see, hey, have you looked at Paul's tape? And she gets this exasperated story. It's Paul Raci. Well, actually, we've been inundated with tapes, and we just can't look at all of them. We can't even believe it. We're probably going to go with a name, again, right? And so I'm fine with that. But my wife, Liz, my agent, she says, would you please look at the tape? Please. Just please, pretty please, look at the tape if you can find it and see what you think. This guy really knows what he's doing, 10 minutes later, they called back. They saw the tape. Darius, the director, saw the tape. He wants to talk to Paul. He really wants to talk to Paul. So you never know. And I saw a lot. I had a good friend that made a tape and sent it in. It was terrible.
We won't tell.
You can't just fake knowing sign language. No. I see actors all the time. They put on their resumes, no sign language, because they had a class or two. It's not going to work. No. And deaf people know it, and I know it. When you see these things, these portrayals on the screen, or after the last 50 years, it doesn't work. So the secret, or that Hollywood should know by now, is you must cast deaf actors in deaf roles. A good example is Wonderstruck, the latest Julianne Moore thing. She tries to play a deaf woman. God bless her. She did the best she could, but there's so many deaf actresses out there that could have done that role and brought some credibility and authenticity to the role.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I felt like you really, obviously it's always a little more challenging when you're watching someone in a film, because you have to get past that, But right. I could really see that kingdom of God piece in your whole demeanor. The way you carried it through. That's who you were.
I don't mind telling you. the beauty of it was I was in Boston, in a suburb of Boston, Ipswich, Massachusetts, farm country. And I was away from my family, away from my house, away from my wife, my dog, my daughter, just no distractions. So before I hit the set every day, I had a lot of time to sit and be in the silence. I had a lot of time to meditate. I had transportation. I had my own hotel room. And I just knew that to keep the integrity of the role that I was diving into here, that I had to walk the talk. I really had to get into my meditation in a very heavy way. So I did. And that particular morning, that Kingdom of God scene morning, I was so ready, so grounded. It was a beautiful thing. I'm just so proud of the work that all of us did in that film. I really am.
Yeah.
It's no BS. It's really there. The feeling is there for me.
Yeah, you can see that in the interviews. I mean, I've seen other interviews, with Darius and Riz and Olivia, and you can feel your connection and your each individual's passion for what they're doing, and then for you guys as a family. And beyond that, oh my God, the deaf community, the people at the table and in the house, and the people, oh my God, that was extraordinary.
Yeah. The people at the table that you're speaking about, the dinner scenes that we have there. Growing up with deaf parents, it was always like, pass the salt and pepper, the banging of everything's banging around. And it just, I'm in my kitchen, I'm cooking, I'm slamming cupboards. Liz comes and goes, what the hell is wrong? What are you doing? Is something wrong? Are you mad? No, I'm just being noisy. That's how I love it. But when Darius turned the camera on, we're having this real meal that we actually cooked in that house, and we're sitting around actually eating, and we just started being deaf. We just started having a deaf dinner or a deaf lunch, whatever. And it's a beautiful thing how we caught that. And then with the genius of the sound design, having it go in and out as to what Riz is experiencing is just pure genius. Puts you in Ruben's shoes. So yeah, all that, and Darius Martyr, the brilliant director, being open to any suggestions we had as to how it is growing up in a deaf house, how it is to have a meal there. And he just drank it all and he loved it. And that camera seemed to love what was going on too. Even to the point where if you really look at it again, one of the deaf girls is talking and signing, and they're just talking about, I don't know if I can tell you what they're talking about, but she knocks over a glass of water and it just spills. And she goes, oops, oh, well, that's how it is in the deaf world, because you just knock things around, accidentally. That was perfect. Just the perfect capture of a deaf moment around a dinner table.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I'm just gonna catch up on some comments so we can say it's okay. So Keith says Liz could have submitted 20 other actors and you still would have got it. It was your part, destiny.
Keith.
Roxy says the best part of the movie was that speech. I think she's talking about the Kingdom of God speech, which was hands down my favorite scene. Gil says he loves hearing your story, Paul. Savannah says the story is so inspiring. I just love this so much. Can't wait to watch the film. Let's see. Roxy says, I loved how they switched between the hearing and non-hearing worlds to help you understand what happens and what is real. Keith says sound engineers were legendary, Oscar worthy, and I checked, they were nominated.
Yes.
And well-deserved nomination.
Right. And Keith, you'll be interested to know that they spent more time on that soundtrack than they did filming the whole entire movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can imagine it was complex.
Yes. So they just had to get it right.
Yeah.
And, I have tinnitus in my right ear really horribly. Liz, my wife, suffers from it. And we watched the movie in Toronto at the Toronto Film Festival. She's sitting on my left side because her right ear is the only one that works now. She's got about 30% in her right ear. That's when I talk to her and when we're making love. But I'm telling her too much information. But she was sitting there watching the movie, And she bursts into tears. She goes, "Oh my God, that's how it is for me. That's how it sounds for me." You're walking along, and then you hear this "ee," and you don't know if it's going to end or not. Mine goes away after about 3 minutes if I try to ignore it. But some of these guys, like I say, the guys, my shipmates,
Yeah.
it's constant. It's just constant, you know.
Yeah, and that was the scene at the end when he's in Paris, was just, it was so remarkable on so many levels. And so I'd love to talk about that. Just let me get through a couple more comments. So Bonnie says sound was truly vital to the overall tone of the movie. Oh, wait, sorry, I skipped one of Bonnie's. She asked, Paul, do you agree with Joe's decision to ask Ruben to leave ASAP?
Well, isn't that sad? Yeah, you know, I can't explain the whole thought process, but at that moment when he leaves, it was a very emotional scene for both Riz and I, because we by that time had become friends. I wanted to stop him and say, "Don't go," but I had to let him go because he broke the rules. Okay, Joe is a taskmaster, and he, you know, you think that Joe doesn't know that he broke into my office and he's looking at my computer? Come on. That he broke the rules, and discipline is one of the foundations of the house, as he describes. And there are too many others to think about. And all these kids, I can't even talk about it right now because it's still with me. All these kids. So when he leaves, and you look at Ruben says, he goes, "Okay, cool." You know, he's being Mr. Cool, and he walks out, and it's heartbreaking. Yeah. And I wanted to say, don't go. But I have to agree with that decision, Bonnie. It was the only decision to be made. And it's not a Hollywood ending for sure, which is why I love the movie so much. And I don't want to ruin the movie for anybody who has not seen it. When you speak about the last scene of the movie, Somalia, where he makes the final gesture, when I read the script, I thought to myself, if my father was still alive, he would stand up and applaud. Mm-hmm. My father would be the first one to say, "I told you not to do that. I told you not to go get that up." You know. But I knew it would be something fantastic after I read the ending of that movie. But yeah. It's a tough scene, but what a beautiful scene. I don't think I'd have it any other way, because they talk about the kitchen table scene, that final scene, that scene, the scene, and it certainly is. It's certainly legendary.
It really is. There were two scenes, and I created clips of my two favorite scenes in the movie, which you were in. And my favorite overall, and you happen to be in them. And I think they touch on our theme for the month, which is planting seeds. And our theme for today is finding solid ground. And what I love so much about this movie, and if we tie back to the metaphysical themes that we often explore when we talk about movies, is, and I'd love to get your thoughts, especially as a practitioner, is it's often so hard when we are dealing with life-changing, earth-shattering change. And Riz does this so beautifully in the film of showing how we want to jump into action. We want to fix and make things better and go back to the way things were.
Right.
And I love, you know, Joe's character and your portrayal of him so much, because it's almost like you're doing your best to reel Ruben back in to kind of, you know, and sticking with our theme of finding solid ground. It's impossible to find that solid ground when we're constantly moving
and drowning or flailing, you know.
Exactly. And so do you mind if we play the first clip?
Oh, no.
Which is the lead in, and that way folks who haven't seen the movie yet can kind of get a sense of what we're talking about. So
what was that all about, Ruben? Oh, your roof? I was fixing your roof. It's like one of the eaves is, I was trying to fix your roof.
You don't need to fix anything here.
Okay.
I've got a little assignment for you, okay? You get up early, right?
Yeah, pretty early, yeah.
I'll have hot coffee waiting for you at 5:30. Early enough for you?
I don't know, I guess.
Okay, 5. And I'll provide a room for you.
Or 4.
And there's nothing that needs to be accomplished in this room. All I want you to do is just sit. All I ask is if and when you cannot just sit, you turn yourself to the pen and paper that I'm going to supply for you. And I want you to write. Doesn't matter what you write, how you write, whether it's spelled correctly, or if it's just a big mess. I don't care. No one will read it, okay? But I want you to keep writing continuously without stopping until you feel like you can sit again.
Does it have to be writing?
Writing, yes. No drawing. Writing, yes. And if sometime in the future it feels like it's a little bit too difficult for you, you should come and find me. I'll be in my apartment doing the same thing as you, okay, Ruben? I'll be writing too.
I just love that scene.
Oh,
Love,
Me too.
love. And it's there's so many pieces of that scene that are so beautiful. And the first that jumps out at me is the you don't need to fix anything here. And that was there was a double meaning there. And it's so clear the second meaning just went over Ruben's head in that scene, right? It's the eaves don't need to be fixed, but you don't need to be fixed, Ruben. And the look on his face is so priceless because he doesn't get it.
I know, and that's why I say, God, I haven't seen that one in a while. They always show the first and the third one, but I always say thank you. I'm so grateful to Riz Ahmed because he breaks my heart in every scene. Breaks my heart right there.
Oh my God, so good.
Right, and the thing is, being in so many programs as an interpreter, being in the addiction ministry I ran over at Agape, God, I've seen so many different Joes give out these stupid assignments. You're watching the guy go, what the hell am I going to do? No drawing, writing, just very, very. So that is pretty par for the course in these programs and these sponsors, these wonderful sponsors that as we were saying before, everybody needs a Joe in their life. Sometimes I don't even care if you're an addict. Sometimes you need a Joe in your life just to give you a little homework assignment that might set you in the right direction.
to anchor you. You need a Joe to anchor you.
Anchor you. Yeah. Although he doesn't seem to want any of my anchoring right there. That's for sure.
No.
Little jerk.
He wanted to fix those eaves, and why are you yelling at me for fixing your eaves?
Yeah.
And then we touched on it a little bit earlier, but the whole why is it so hard to sit? Right? I don't know if you've had that problem, and Robin's known me for many years, and my immediate go-to anytime I've got a problem is figure out how to fix it and make it happen.
That's my nature also. I've been trying to fix things ever since I was a little kid. You know, having deaf parents and growing up in the 50s, I was a fixer. A lot of CODAs that I know, CODA, Child of Deaf Adults, which is, I don't consider myself to be a hearing person at all, or a deaf person. I know I'm not deaf, but I'm not a hearing person. I was brought up in deaf culture, and I think like my father did, like my mother did. I was the go-between. I was the guy who was negotiating everything between the hearing world and them. So a lot of us CODAs have this wanting to fix stuff. Even walking around the set, we had professional sign language interpreters on the set, and I'm trying to fix communication because I don't think it's going right. So yeah, you're not doing it the way I would do it. So yeah, I have a tendency to try and fix things, and I cannot sit still. It's very difficult for me. But with practice, you can accomplish a minute, maybe. You know, it's like a ping pong game. It's going. I'm in it. I'm out. I'm in. I'm just going back and forth. It goes like this, back and forth until you get it. Oh, wait a minute! I can see it now, and then it might stay that way for about 5 or 10 seconds.
You have that too, huh?
Every guy online right now is going, yeah, me too. Yeah. But Leon, Bonnie, no, but you know that's the game. So if you accept that from the top, from the get-go, then you can be easier on yourself as you progress, I think, right? Yeah. So that's why it's not easy. But if you can get those, oh my God, if you can get those 5 seconds or 10 seconds, and then you can extend it into a minute and maybe 5 minutes of just sitting there in the silence, in the stillness. You don't have to have silence. You can be still with everybody going crazy around you, including the fire truck going down the street. You can have stillness. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask. So you said that, before you did that last scene with Reuben at the kitchen table, that you were sitting in silence like that morning and getting it. So how did you, were you having the 10 seconds of stillness, or were you able to, was there something that you found worked for you in that moment?
Well, that day, I had time before getting to the set to be at least an hour and a half of my struggling to be still. It's how you describe it, my struggle.
No, I'm chuckling because I know exactly what you're talking about.
But I did have success that morning. So when I got to the set, it was cloudy, dismal, raining for the first time in 3 weeks. All of a sudden it's raining now. And it was a really ominous cloud over the house. All the deaf actors had wrapped the day before, so it was just Riz and I. And sitting at the table. Here's what I'm talking about, Somalia. I'm sitting at the table while the crew was around me. Get the camera angle here. Blah, blah, they're all blah blah blah. I was sitting there with my spiritual sayings written down in front of me, the ones I needed that morning. I don't even know what they were now, but I was already in my meditative state right there, and everybody was buzzing around me. It was like I had fire trucks, and they're all they're being respectful, but they got to get their job done.
Right. So
that morning, I was pretty centered. Thank you, Spirit. I was very centered right that morning. So had I just been my normal Paul, running from here to there, I got to make sure I get my coffee. No, I had a job to do that morning, and so. Especially that morning, I was ready to go. And I really contribute to the amount of time that I was afforded to sit and be still, whether it was in my hotel room. Now I'm going to go find a place in the woods. There were some woods that were pretty close there. I had my own transportation. I had a car. I go there. Oh, this is perfect. Nobody's around, So I was ready to go. But I keep beckoning back to this thing about it's not easy. I'm sorry. I'm not going to make it easy for anybody else just because it's hard for me. I mean, right? You have to, a musician practices his instrument every day. A writer writes every day. If you're somebody, you think you're somebody, you think you're doing a certain thing, then you got to do it every day. And if you want to meditate, you want to call yourself a meditator, you want to call yourself whatever entails being a person who can be still, you got to do it every day. If you miss a day, I don't consider you trying to do it. You got to try to do it every day. There has to be, I mean, I would ask that question out loud to myself. I'm not talking to you guys. I'm talking to Paul. Paul, now listen, Paul, are you practicing this thing every day, or are you full of S, you know? And so every day, Liz, we don't have to do it together, but you got to do it every day. You got to make an attempt to be still every day. And I don't care what time you do it.
Yeah. Or how long you do it for.
Or if you do it the same way.
Yeah.
I don't care if you do it the same way.
Right.
Nobody said that there was a way to do it. And if they did, call them on their bullshit. But you have got to do it every day. You've got to make the attempt every day. And then if it's over within 5 seconds, okay, so it's over. Then maybe later on, if it's 5 seconds, try it again later on. Come on, give me a break. But if you have a breakthrough of a full minute, that's a long time. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
And then you're ready for maybe, oh my God, where did the time go? I've been here 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's a breakthrough. When you start getting things like you're into 20 minutes and 30 minutes of not thinking of anything else but the nothingness, that's the stillness. If you can do that, okay, my friend, my hat is off to you, because that's what we're shooting for. That's what we're shooting for, because it will get easier.
Yeah, that's a whole different game.
A whole nother game. Right, Robin?
Absolutely.
Ding, 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 ding. That's right. Winner, winner, chicken dinner on Robin Rice. It isn't a whole ball game. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
So Keith was asking, how long did the whole movie shoot take?
For me, 3 weeks. They were shooting long before I was in it. They were shooting the horrific first third of the movie, which is him losing his hearing and they're playing in a band. I was on that set for 3 weeks, 21 days.
Wow.
And it was a concentrated 21 days. It's a small budget movie. You only get 2 or 3 takes every scene. There's no 14 takes. There's no.
I was going to ask you that, because I heard an interview with Riz and Darius about that. And he said that you generally got 2 takes.
2 takes. That's
and
it.
Darius would be like, "That's good. We're good."
That's good. Yes. And
incredible.
And no rehearsal. By the way, you don't get to rehearse. You know your lines. We're going to throw you in there and sit down and let's be. How's that for a concept? Just be. And anybody that's into acting, if you think you want to be an actor, then no acting allowed. You're only allowed to be. And so that's how we did it. You got 2 or 3 takes, and I don't even know Riz Ahmed that first scene. And guess what? Ruben and Joe don't know each other either. They're just meeting. So how brilliant is Darius Martyr to throw us into that scene, not knowing each other as characters or men, and then we do the scene. So he captures what he captures.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
That's amazing. I think I heard that the whole shoot was like 4 weeks or 5 weeks. So
I think about 6 weeks altogether. And so that's what I'm saying. The sound editing took 8 or 9 months.
Wow.
That's what I heard, that they were in Mexico in a place for months, for like 7 months or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's wild.
That's how. So that soundtrack is like another character in the movie. It's like a whole another
100%.
character. Right. Exactly.
100%. So I'm just going to catch up on a few other comments just so you are caught up with what folks are saying. So Anna Maria was saying, I think she's referring to this. Anna Maria, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're referring to the clip we played. You were brilliant, Paul. I agree 100%. And then she says a couple minutes later, that line, "You don't need to fix anything here," went so deep. Keith, let me see. Lava asks, She didn't understand what was the big deal about him fixing the roof. Do you want to
Oh,
talk
okay.
to that?
I understand what you're saying, Lava. It's not a big deal, but it was just Joe's way, because I already told him once before in the very first scene. I said, we're about adjusting this, not this. You know that scene? So he's already laid the rule down there. It's not this that's the problem. It's up here. So when he sees him fixing the eaves up there, it's just a perfect. And Joe is just being a prick. He's just being a dick. You know, he's like, I got him. I see what you're doing. You see, he walks out and he's just looking at him like, and then he taps on the ladder. I got to talk to you. He's being a dick to prove a point. And so all he's trying to say is, you don't, and boy, the look on Joe's face there, you don't need to fix anything here. He looks like he's being a real, and then right after, it's like what Joe does, hits him and hugs. That's what these guys do. I'm going to hit you. I'm going to hug you, baby, poor baby, bam. So what he does, he hits him. You don't need to fix anything here. And then he says, I got a little homework assignment for you.
Yeah.
It's not going to be that hard. You're just going to have to sit.
Yeah. Understatement. It's not going to be that hard.
Yeah. But that, I hope, I'm not trying to be flip about it, but that was the whole point. Joe is being, a little mean there, a little nasty. And then he tries to tell him. And like you're saying, it seems to go over Ruben's head. Like, what the heck I don't get it.
Yeah.
But he doesn't get it until the last scene of the movie. That's what hits me so hard.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. It's
an amazing.
like everything comes together in that one
the
moment.
last moment.
Yeah.
So you're still resonating. You're in the third part of the movie, but that second part of the movie, it's still bouncing around in your head, resonating with you. And then,
yeah,
if you don't think of Joe in that moment, I'd be a little surprised, because then it's like, oh,
yeah,
how tragic is that? It's tragic.
It's great. Bonnie says she even learned a few sign language words from the movie. Her favorite was the word thinking. So can you remind us what how you sign thinking?
Thinking.
Oh yeah.
Thinking.
Exactly. Yeah. So my active mind works the same way, Bonnie. So I can totally relate.
Yeah. You're thinking.
It's like the hamsters running the show.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah. Crazy thinking.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so then Anna Maria is asking, isn't the need to fix a part of human nature?
Yes. And as a matter of fact, a guy from France was interviewing me, it seems like months ago now, but he says to me, Paul, what is wrong? What is wrong with fixing it? There's nothing wrong. You know what, man? There's nothing wrong with it. It's your own journey. Everybody's on their journey. You guys have yours. Although you're metaphysically sisters, you have your separate journey, right? You're on your journey. Robin's on her journey. I'm on my journey. If you want to fix it, then you're more than welcome to go right ahead and do that. Joe is just trying to save Ruben a lot of heartache right there, a lot of pain.
Yeah.
One of the things that I say to him in that last scene, and it's not in the movie, that scene is way longer than what you're seeing. The one I remember was saying one thing that I loved saying it to him was because he shows me he says, I did the deed, and he shows me. And the first thing Joe says, and it's not in the movie, he goes, does it hurt?
Oh.
Because it's very painful physically to go through that operation. And the one thing that Joe is trying to save him from the very beginning is the emotional pain and the physical pain of it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, of course it's human nature to fix it. We all want to fix it. You see a friend in pain, what's the first thing you want to do? You want to soothe their pain with a balm of some kind, whether it's a prayerful balm or an actual salve you can put on or something.
Right.
You want to help that friend in need who's in pain, whether it be physical or mental or emotional,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me see where we are. Keith says meditation is built on baby steps. All answers I have received happen in the space between two breaths. That's so beautifully put, Keith.
Keith, right. Hey, Keith, you know when it is for me? It's after I'm done meditating. That's where I find gold sometimes, because I'll be like all done. All right, well, this wasn't worth my time. You know, I was only here for I've been doing this for 15 minutes and nothing happened. All right. And then I'll get on with my day and then wham! Oh my goodness. There you are. How many times? That's I've gotten my goal like, oh, wait a minute. I got to stop what I'm doing and write this down. So
Yeah.
If I could just offer that to people who think this is crazy or I'm bullshitting, you know, just try it. And then you'll see it could be 5 minutes after you're done being still and you'll go, oh shit, there it is. There it was. It could happen. Yeah.
I think what you're saying is so valuable, because one of the things that Samaya and I like to hope to get across to people is that there is no one way. There is no right way. You know, we're all going to find the nuances and the pieces that work for us and what emerges through us in a different way. So it's so beautiful to hear you speak to it like that, because it doesn't have to be hard. It just has to be authentically you.
That's all you need to do. I remember, Robin, being spending so much time at Agape, you know, with all these practitioners and going through all the classes and knowing all these people. And there are people that you look up to when you're working there. You see these practitioners like, God, I wish I want to be like her. I want to be like this guy, you know. And I would see them do these weird poses, you know, like this one woman, she's like doing this or whatever. You know, the thinker, you know, and I thought you're supposed to be this. I thought you're supposed to, you know, there's no way. There's no one way. It's your way.
Yeah.
What we want a breakthrough. We want a spiritual breakthrough where you can just connect with the oneness that is you, that's just dying to connect with the spirit that's animating you. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's it. That's all it
I know.
is.
That's
Some small thing.
Easy peasy.
yeah, you know, come on. Why aren't you guys listening?
Get with it.
Exactly.
Come on. Yeah.
When Gil says silence is not stillness, I think of stillness as being quiet on the inside.
Yeah, Gil. Because, like I said, it could be a fire truck going down. Oh my God, you don't need to even react to it, because it's about what's going. Remember, you're still trying to connect with that thing. That thing. I don't know what you call that thing, but that thing. You know, it's that thing, that undescribable, indescribable thing. That's, as I said, animating you, living its life
The
through you.
the isness of you.
Isness.
Yeah.
You got to think of it like that, or you're never going to. You're going to listen. You have to think of it that way. Otherwise, you're going to keep on. You're going to keep on thinking and trying to think your way out of a paper bag. You can't. You can't do it. You can't do it.
No. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is kind of getting back to our theme of the finding solid ground. When we're constantly like, you know, the hamster's running the show, or we're trying to fix, we can never get that solid ground, because you need that moment of stillness to kind of to let the answers, the insights, the inspirations kind of sink in and permeate.
Let everything kind of settle, you know, in your mind, because your mind's going like this. If you can let it settle, and then it's all down here, you know, so you can see. Maybe you can see clearly. I think that's what happens when I get my aha moment after everything's settled down, you know, and now I start my life again. I'm starting to churn it up, and something breaks through before it all you know, does that make any, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, it totally does. Because
let it settle down.
You've taken that moment, and then whatever needs to come through is going to take that, whatever opening it can get to.
Right. And that's, I mean, and again, to coin our theme, that's finding solid ground. I mean, that's the journey to get there, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Exactly.
So, you know, we only have a few more minutes left. What
are you talking about?
I know. But I promised your wife I wouldn't go over an hour.
I
I'm not
promise.
getting under
I
the
promise you that too.
But I know, and there's so much more. So you are welcome to come back anytime because we love just the conversation, you know.
Yeah.
Although we've had a great, this is a good. I consider this a great conversation.
This
Yeah,
is
it's a great
fantastic. I love
conversation.
it.
And we'd love to talk more about it, and we can continue talking. But I also just want to spend a moment acknowledging 40 years in the industry, and now you're nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
Really?
Yes, yes.
This is right.
Well, and not only Best Supporting Actor, but you've been nominated for like 32 awards.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's been tremendous. That I didn't even know that was going on until somebody pointed out to me and showed me all of them. There's been a lot of people that have liked the performance, liked the movie. So yeah, I'm a 40-year overnight success.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I read was 32 nominations and so far 21 wins.
Yes.
Wow.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not a bad average. It's pretty
And
good.
I mean, as a,
Not a bad 2021 so far, huh?
Not bad.
and they haven't all been determined. So, but
Right.
I mean, that in and of itself obviously is amazing. But I mean, yes, a 40-year overnight success. How are you finding solid ground? I mean, there's got to be a part of it that's just surreal.
Oh, absolutely. Liz and I still look at each other and go, "Are you serious? This really happened?" You know.
This is our life.
Yeah, but it's getting better now. You know, I mean, I can't go anywhere now. I live in Burbank. I go to my regular haunts for my coffee, for my sandwich, for this or that, for my tacos. And now even the taco guy, you know, he goes, "Congratulations on your nomination." Oh my God, is everybody an actor here?
Yes.
Not the taco guy too.
The taco guy too. So everybody. So I'm enjoying it. It's nice. People stop me, and I enjoy that. I have a mask on too. They say, "Hey, Paul, we know you." Oh, great. But no, it's cool. Really enjoying it. I think it's even helping me even get more grounded because I'm finding that now I'm not thinking so much about I gotta make this. I gotta force fit this career. I gotta make it happen. You know, I don't think I've done that in quite a while now. I'm just kind of going with the flow, and you know, God, I've kind of let it go, and now everything's coming through. All these offers are coming through.
Go figure.
Isn't that interesting? Trying to make a career happen. It's, you know, you get this desperation. You know, Pink Floyd's like living quietly in desperation. That line from the Pink Floyd song.
Yeah.
Quiet English desperation is the English way, or something. I can't think of the exact. Keith will know, but that has been and is a lot of my actor friends living this quiet life of desperation because the career is not happening. And so when I decided to just get back into rock and roll and screw it, I don't want to act anymore. I want to be a rock singer like I was years ago. I let go of it, and now this thing happened, and now offers are coming through. So I'm mulling over 3 or 4 different movie and television offers. We don't know which one's going to work out first. Maybe I can do them all, maybe not. But how wonderful to let go and let spirit. That's exactly what's happening with me. I don't care about my career like I used to. Oh, and that's so crazy to talk like this, but you know, I do care. I do care, Spirit. I do care. But you know, it's like I don't, because I know everything's going to be all right. Everything's just going to be fine.
Well, it's a great new problem to have.
New
Right.
problem.
And
Yeah.
I mean, it's great because you get to choose from a higher place. You get to choose like the quality of what you want. You're not at the beck and call of an audition.
No.
You know, you're not hoping for something to come in. You're like, wow, look what's in front of me, and where do I want to play?
I'm so used to auditioning for one-line parts, for day player parts, and you know, they're telling me now I have a team around me. Now it's all different now. They say I don't audition anymore. What? No, you
Yeah.
don't.
It's what happens when you are nominated.
All right. Well, okay. Well, all right then. All righty. I accept.
So it's Pink Floyd, Time,
Oh, yes.
Dark Side of the Moon. I looked
Dark-
it up. I was like, it was running through my head and I couldn't remember which song it was.
Yeah. And what's the line?
Plans that either come to naught or half a page of scribbled lines. Hanging on in quiet desperation is the English way. The time is gone. The song is over. Thought I'd something more to say. Such a great album.
That's the line. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so moving. And that has been run through my head ever since I heard it in the 70s. It's run through my head. And you just got to stick with it. Just stick with it. Know that life is good.
Life is good.
Life is good.
Life is good.
Wow.
And speaking of your music,
Wait.
Oh,
if anyone wants to see Paul play,
Yes.
hey, that's a banner. That's a banner and a half. I know what a banner is. I was.
So this is Paul. You said it's the first time you guys are playing in over a year.
We've been in lockdown for a year. I'm all vaccinated now. The band is vaccinated. We booked the gig at Marquee Neighborhood Barn Lounge in San Bernardino, April 17th. That's this Saturday. We'll go on at 10:30. We do 2 hours of Black Sabbath, the first 8 albums, the only ones that count because they all have Ozzy on them.
Ozzy, yes.
Ozzy. And so we'll be doing that there. And I'll be doing the whole show in American Sign Language. There'll be some deaf people there. So you can learn some sign language while I'm doing it. It's going to be fantastic. We are so ready to go. And so, yeah, come on out there. It's just a small bar. And if you have to wear a mask, by all means, don't be embarrassed to wear a mask because we're kind of coming slowly out of this. So don't be intimidated by people that don't wear masks. If you got to wear a mask, wear your mask. I'll have my mask on, except when I'm singing. I'll be on stage and I'll have my bouncers keeping you away from me, you know. But yeah,
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
And Robin,
yeah.
you said you've seen Paul's band.
I've seen Paul's band. It is definitely, it's not Joe performing up on stage. It is definitely a whole different character. You will be able to see Paul's spectrum of characters. No, it's really, it's definitely an artistic, lively show.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And so Lava says, protect your ears.
Protect your ears. I have these little things, you know, I don't want to do a plug, but I have these things that are called eargasms, you know. And what did I say? Yeah, they're called eargasms. But there's plenty of companies out there that do these things. There's no reason for you to listen to a rock band naked. And I mean with your ears naked. You put these little things in your ears, you can still hear the band. Why won't it come out of here? Because it's stuck in that guy's ear. Anyway, you put them in your ear, you can still hear the rock music and you can protect your ears because I'm telling you, this tinnitus is a real thing. I have it. A lot of my shipmates still have it and musicians suffer from it all the time. There's no reason. Protect your ears. Don't be embarrassed to protect your body, your physical body or your spiritual body.
Absolutely. And so just a few other comments. So Roxy says, bravo on the Oscar nomination.
Thank
Congrats,
you,
Paul. So deserved.
Awesome.
As a fellow practitioner and actor, I just really appreciate all this. You are an inspiration.
Keep going, Anna.
And Keith says the Pink Floyd line is actually an English poem line they used, and I couldn't remember who that was. So if you know, Keith, let us know.
I knew Keith would know who that was.
Roxy says, congratulations. Keith says, awesome. And Anna Maria says, wish I could go. Seattle loves you, Paul.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Well, you are definitely loved and we'll definitely be cheering for you there.
And so it's, what is it, the 25th?
25th. We'll be, me and Liz are going to the Oscars, which will be at Union Station downtown this year. It's going to be, Union Station. It's going to be socially distanced, and we're kind of still coming out of this pandemic slowly. So will the Oscars. This Sunday is the BAFTA Awards. That's the British Academy Awards.
Right.
And then in 2 weeks, we'll go to the Oscars. And the designer, Fabio Immediato, is designing my tux.
Look at you.
Don't hold on. I'm not
That's
done.
funny.
Oh, sorry.
Fabio Immediato is designing. Can I say it one more time? Fabio Immediato is designing my tux, and Dolce Gabbana is building it. They're building the tux. So we had to
They
go down.
build tuxes?
Yeah, they don't just sew them together. They build them. So Fabio Immediato is designing it,
Designing.
and I had to go down to Rodeo Drive. What am I talking about? Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills to Dolce Gabbana, and they actually built it there, and they're dressing me.
Nice.
Wow. That gives me chills. That
Me
is so
too.
great.
Crazy.
That is so great. That in and of itself is a role for you to play.
Henry David Thoreau. Thanks,
Yes,
Keith.
from
You got
Walden.
it. Dude.
So Keith,
That's
Keith
right.
is
I
like
have
Johnny
that
on the
book.
spot.
Yeah, no, Keith is I've always loved Keith. Years and years
Thank
and
you,
years
Keith.
ago. He's a
Who
great
doesn't
musician.
love Keith?
Everybody else. He's a great musician. Love that guy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited for you. I'm excited that supporting actor is usually the first one they announce.
I know. It is.
So we can just get it out of the way. And
Out of the
will
way.
you come back? Will you come back and just have spiritual conversations with us?
Oh, certainly. Of course.
Okay.
Oh, yay. We look forward to it. All right. Well, we are a minute over. We don't want to to incur the wrath of Liz.
Yeah, we have an appointment, I think. Okay.
Okay. Well, we will let you go. Thank you so much for joining us, Paul. This has been so amazing. Thank you,
My
everyone who's
pleasure.
joined us live, and for anybody catching us on the replay. And Paul, we will be getting the closed captioning dialed in so that you can share with folks.
Thank you. That'd be great.
We will let you know once that's done. And
Wonderful. Let me know. Yeah.
we are just so excited for you this award season. So best of luck.
I appreciate you both so much. Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
And have a great week, everyone. We will see you here next week. Lots of love. Bye.
Bye.
Awesome.